Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Zach Schomler, and today joining me is my good friend Marcell Frazier. You played football at University of Missouri. You played for the Seahawks, the Browns. You are now getting ready to play this fall for the XFL Dragons. Dude, thank you so much for coming over. I appreciate having you.
No problem, man. No problem. Good to be here.
I got a story for you. You might not know. You and I went to the same high school together. Mm-hmm. We went to David Douglas High School. You were significantly older than me, though. Mm-hmm. And you were number 9 in high school. Mm. And I don't know if you know this. When you left David Douglas, I got number 9 after you. So I got your old jersey. And I got this tattered, destroyed, ripped up to shreds jersey. I was like, man, Marcell went hard. I learned from that jersey. I was like, I never need to watch you on the field to know this guy went extremely hard. I just wanted to share. I don't know if I ever told you that. Right. Your jersey was just annihilated, man. Right. I wore it with pride, and it was really funny. And by the way, you're a defensive end. Why were you wearing number 9?
Little numbers. I thought I was a wide receiver, man.
Well, you were. You were.
Right.
You had some good catches, man. Yeah. I want to start here. Last night we watched the Rams and the Ravens play. Right. What's it like to watch another team of your Samson Ebukam play for the Rams? I love watching him every occasionally on national TV. He had a game last year against the Chiefs where he had 2 touchdowns on Monday Night Football against Patrick Mahomes. I was like, let's go. What's it like to watch him for you?
Man, watching Samson is just awesome because when you know Samson's story, he's just so humble and he's always just been dedicated to the weight room. He's a man of faith, I think. He's a family man. And when you meet Samson, it's like you don't necessarily know that he's an NFL player besides the fact that he's stacked. He's a huge guy.
You see a gigantic man who clearly works his butt off.
Right. And I think that's the best story. I mean, I think he thought he was a soccer player growing up. He's a Nigerian kid. And the parents were kind of afraid of football a bit. But, man, he just kept working. And just seeing his grind from the combine. I don't even know if he got a combine invite. I think from his pro day to being drafted and to immediately being an impact player for the Rams as a rookie, and he's just grown into a consistent pass rusher.
Well, what's wild to me is that he didn't have I thought he was going to go to Oregon.
Right.
I thought he had to go to. I love Eastern Washington where he went. It's actually my favorite college. I don't know if you know that. If I have a favorite college team, it's Eastern Washington, which is weird. Right, I love their culture. My girlfriend went there. But it's weird that he had to go there. Right. He seemed like I don't know. It's cool to see him get out of there and succeed and do so well. I really enjoy watching him. We also saw Lamar Jackson play last night. You play defensive end. And so I wanted, before we get into the interview and talk about your story, I wanted your opinion. The Rams did something last night against Lamar Jackson, which I really liked. They said, we're going to keep him in the pocket. Guys like Samson were not running upfield very far. Right. They took 2 steps and kept Lamar in front of them, hoping he would bail out and extend a play outside. And they didn't rush upfield very much, which left Lamar Jackson a ton of time in the pocket, and he shredded the Rams. Right. How in the world would you stop Lamar Jackson? Is there a way? What do you see when you watch Lamar Jackson?
In my opinion, I think you have to get after him with the pass rush. You have to try to hit him. But like we were talking about earlier downstairs, you can't really get a square hit on the guy.
No.
It seems like he always wiggles out and kind of worms his way out of the big hits.
Yeah.
So I think you need a pass rush. That's too much pressure on your DBs to sit back and cover. And the Rams kind of had the formula. You'd think they would have it with the pass rushers they had, and we'll see if the Niners can get after them with their big-time pass rushers.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. That's the team I'm really excited to watch. I'm skeptical there's a team that can actually get after Lamar. He's so fast. We talked about it downstairs earlier. I know a guy who coached at Texas A&M against Lamar Jackson and said he's never seen a player who goes from 0 to top speed as quick as him. He just immediately, bam, he's gone at top speed. Right. And he might not only be he's not only the best quarterback probably ever to play, as far as an athlete to play that position, he might be one of the top 5. I think, in fact, he is a top 5 athlete in the NFL, period, let alone be a quarterback.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not confident that even the 49ers can corral him. And then he's getting straight to his arm. I just look at Lamar and go, man, I don't know how you possibly stop him. I just am so... I love watching him. So, do you enjoy watching him?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Ever since he was at Louisville. I remember I saw a high school clip of him when they used to do the clips on Instagram.
Yeah.
Him doing a crazy spin move, backstepping a guy, and the guy down there doing a front flip because he got juked so bad. And then progression just kept continuing to get better and better and better. And now you just see this explosive Miami kid, fast as heck, who could sling the ball.
Did you see the play he had in high school where he was running down the sideline and he just put on the brakes, he stops?
That's the play I'm talking about.
And he just walks into the end zone and you're like, oh my God.
And you're just like, wait, what is this? Is this like youth football? But it was high school and that was Lamar Jackson.
That's Miami football. Dang. Right. I want to get into you now. you and I talked around the time of the Alliance of American Football was a football league that was very brief, a couple games, and it folded. I went to a game, actually. It was quite fun. Right. But you did not buy into the AAF. And you always told me, man, the XFL's coming, the XFL's coming. So you're playing the XFL this fall. I guess it's in the spring, which I can't wait, man. I'm really excited to watch the XFL because I just love football. Right. And more football means a lot to me. Why did you believe in the XFL when you didn't believe in the AAF?
I just think it had to do with having a great agent and a great agency that is connected to the CEO, who is Mr. Locke. And they kind of just told me, man, the AFF's money is not that great. Yeah. Now, they were getting players. I had friends signing up to play. It was a good check. I think it might have been $6,000 a week, which is not bad to play football. Yeah. But there was no long-term money. And you saw what Vince has done with the XFL. He sold, I want to say, $300 million of stocks about last year, maybe a little bit over 12 months ago. So they have longevity as far as financial backing in the league. You look at their TV partnerships, ESPN, ABC, Fox, FS1. They have all those partnerships well before the season started.
Yeah. They believe in it. The big networks believe in the XFL.
Yes, they do believe in it. And the AFF, I think it could have succeeded. It's just their big-time sponsorships, the money never came through. Yeah. And we all know this is America. Things are money-based. You can't just have a dream without having financial backing. Yeah. Especially a sport as expensive as football. And so my agent said, hey, man, I know you're chomping at the bit to get out there. Don't sweat it, though. We're going to see what happens with the AFF. Not going to talk negative about it, but we'll see if it's even around in a couple months from now. Yeah. And I remember telling you specifically, I don't know, man. My sources say that this thing is out of there. Yeah. And it kind of came to fruition that the money just wasn't there. Great players, great talent, and great vision, just no money.
Yeah, I should have listened to you, man. I think I was just so excited. I was like a prisoner of the moment. I was like, man, we have football. It's not football season. I was all in for it. Right. And you were right, man. You kept saying, man, the XFL's coming, the XFL's coming. And I think you're right that there's a significant amount of capital behind the XFL. I mean, they have the WWE's money behind it. Yeah. And that means that they can survive for a while without they can get through it. I'm just excited to watch it, man. Right. I think it's going to work. You're getting ready to play. What does that process look like? You're training, you're eating. Like, what is that process getting ready for a season to play professionally? What does that look like from your side?
Man, first of all, just keeping your body healthy. So when it comes to training, a big thing is gaining strength, maintaining strength. But the hugest thing is maintaining health. You don't want to what I learned from NFL prep is that you shouldn't load up the bar on back squats too many times a week. Yeah. So I try to back squat usually once every 7 days, if that. I do more jumping and explosive movement.
Like squat jumps and agility stuff?
Agility stuff and double jumps.
Moving your own weight.
Moving your own weight and quick twitch, doing it fast. Moving your weight extremely quick, extremely explosive. Yeah. So I learned, listen to your body, yes, but it is grind time. So I have been working out twice a day for probably the past 2 months. Before that, I was consistently working out once a day. I've been cranking up my cardio to about 6 to 10 miles on the bike every day, which is the best low impact you could do for cardio. Because big guy like me, tall guy, it's knee pain and ankle pain.
Like running on a track, for example, would just destroy your knees, right?
Destroy them. Yeah. So there's people who do it, but when you're 255 pounds, 260, your anatomy is not really fit to just high impact on that.
It's funny. I did you a disservice. You're sitting in a chair like really low because like I did the best I could in my weird little place. You look small, probably on camera. Right. He's not a small man. You look at. There's a picture of us on Instagram where I look like your son. Like I look like a little kid next to you. It's really funny. Yeah. Do you ever get in the pool? Does that? That's another low impact.
I used to when NFL training, man. We did a lot of just recovery stuff in the pool because it's low impact, and even when I was on the Browns, a lot of their recovery days would be laps and would be running laps and would be pool workouts because, like you said, it's not a lot of pressure on the joints. And on the Browns, when you have 320-pound guys, you can get a lot out of the pool where your weight is virtually nothing. So I don't personally do it just because I don't trust these local pools at my gyms. I just don't, man. It's kind of Jeremy place, but maybe when I get back to prepping next year, I can get back into it.
Here's a question that I've only been able to ask one other person this. What's it like to prepare for a pro day? You're at Mizzou. You're getting ready for the NFL. What does that look like? What's a pro day like? I mean, how many people were there? Man. Are they just taking notes? It's probably weird, right?
Pro day, man, it's just like a combine at your school, but it's you have anywhere from 20 to 35 scouts representing anywhere from 20 to 30, from 20 to all 32 NFL teams, and leading up to it is just like strict eating, strict working out, mental preparation, learning interview questions to say with the NFL teams.
What's that process like? I mean, by the way, I asked you a pretty awful question. I just said, what's it like? How do you answer that? You're preparing for interviews. What is that? Do they have a person who meets with you? What is that process like?
So sometimes it'll be your agency that preps you. For me, it was the training place I was training at, was XO's down in Carlsbad, California. They had an entire class basically dedicated to it, and the way they do their training is they bring in a position coach who played in the NFL or had experience at high-level college athletics. So we had a guy who played at University of Kansas, big-time D tackle in the NFL, and he came back and he just would ask us some questions on the fly, ask our opinion of things, and then we would go out for field work. And then before that, you would be, working out, lifting, and after that, you would be working out and lifting. But just a position guy, and it wasn't too strict because they get their money up front. So they're like, if you don't want to show up, don't show up.
Yeah.
Like, your agency has paid a lot of money, so.
Here's something I think people don't really appreciate about athletes very often is a lot of the time when you're an athlete, you get interviewed and it's after a game or it's in a locker. You're tired. What's it like to get interviewed when you're tired and maybe you just played a whole football game?
Man, credit to the guys, the D tackles and the O linemen who have to think straight after clashing with 300-pound men for, three hours. Yeah. It's a lot, man. It's emotional, like overload. You just played in a stadium of 60,000 yelling people. Playing in the SEC, a lot of those games would be like 80 degrees or like 70% humidity. And you kind of like have to gather yourself quickly. And your media person might give you a couple prompts, but it's like you're in there and there's 10 to 15 cameras and 10 to 15 interviewers, and you're just kind of out of it, and you're just trying your best. So it was – some days you're just over it, absolutely. Yeah. After the losses, when they ask the hard-hitting questions, it's absolutely hard, and you're just trying to keep your composure and trying to stay calm. But honestly, you just want to get home, get to your bed, and kind of knock out.
I'm going to ask you – I did not prepare you for this question at all. Don't answer if you don't want to. But we saw recently where the Browns were playing the Steelers, and we saw what Myles Garrett did. He hit Mason Rudolph over the head with a helmet. And obviously, I have to say this, right? It's the politically correct thing to say is that's terrible. You can't do it. Of course, right? You can't hit someone with a helmet. But I think my initial reaction when I saw that was something I felt weird about, and I knew I probably couldn't say, but I'm going to say it anyways. I was like, Myles Garrett's in the moment, man. How do you go from you're in a mindset where you're going to murder a guy, like you're playing defensive end where your job is to attack. How do you turn that off? I know you have to, right? In that in a heated moment, you got to have composure and control yourself. But is there anything to that where you're playing defensive end and there's a heat of the moment? Do you sympathize at all with Myles Garrett? And don't answer in a way that hurts you. I'm just curious because I'm like, I saw Myles Garrett and I was like, man, I do feel a little bit for that.
Yeah, I sympathize with both guys for sure. I think each guy, you look back onto that. Mason doesn't do that. And if Mason's at dinner or at a bar, he wouldn't do that.
No, Myles, he wouldn't be in his nothing.
No. And Myles at dinner at a bar, he wouldn't do that. Because Myles is just like,
he seems like actually a mild-mannered, pretty nice guy.
He's very mild-mannered, and Mason comes from a great family. But when you put on those pads, and you're kind of like in that gladiator zone, I think people's brains, like you said, they get into attack mode, they get into fight mode. It's kind of kill or be killed, and that's kind of like the overall culture of football. It's kind of based off militaristic values. So people literally use like war sayings when you're getting ready for a football game. So it's an unfortunate situation, and Mason's not starting right now, and Myles is suspended from the league right now. For how long?
And for good, he deserves it, right? But I just that's part of the weird part of the game is you have to go from very quickly this attack mode, you're in the zone, and then somehow be able to make good decisions between plays. It's just there is. I sympathize just a little bit where it's like I know it's hard to go from one mindset to another very quickly. Oh, definitely. It's still inexcusable, but man, I just sympathize with that.
Definitely, yeah. Turn off that savage mode.
You played it at Missouri. Yep. In the SEC, the big boy football league. Right. What was that? What's it like to play an SEC football game?
Man.
Because you played Oregon high school football,
right?
Then JUCO football, and then went to the SEC, the big stage. Man, I can't imagine what that's like.
Right. It was insane. There would be, You know, I played at LSU on their homecoming.
Oh.
I played at Georgia on their homecoming. Played at Florida on their homecoming. Played at Tennessee twice. And we're talking about stadiums who have 90 to 102,000 people. And you just, the adrenaline you have from, I think any game, but specifically when you just got done with Death Valley or you just left.
That's the coolest name. Like, there's that sign at Death Valley. Like, Death Valley? Are you kidding me? That's the name of their stadium?
It's crazy, man. It's you get home and some nights you don't sleep until like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. because you're just high off on adrenaline. But it was an experience for sure that I'll value. And I guess since I'm so close to being removed from it, like it's only been 2 years removed. Doesn't really hit me, but if I stay on the West Coast and I kind of get older and I tell my old war stories and stuff, and everybody's talking about Pac-12 or Big Sky and things like that, like I take value in. I think when I was in the SEC, it was only me and the Hollister brothers down in one place for the Patriots, and I think the Seahawks now. But we were the only guys in the whole conference. You're talking about a conference with 1,000-some players. We're the only 3 guys from the state of Oregon. And when I was at Mizzou, I think it was only me and another kid from the West Coast. And as I got older, they recruited more Cali kids, and we had one, I think, Seattle kid.
Yeah, you go to Missouri, man. There's not a lot of Northwest people over there, right?
No, not really. No. Average students, you get some Seattle, some Portland, some West Coast, a lot of West Coasters actually, Bay Area, LA.
Because there's a good journalism school. There's reasons to go to Mizzou.
There's reasons.
Was that a big culture shock to go from? You went from Portland to Northern California to Missouri. What's that like?
It was definitely culture shock, man. Just different. It was super hot. Like, it was just insanely hot. Like, the summer there, when I talk about, like, you look at your phone, it says 78 to, like, 83. You're like, okay, cool. Like, this is regular clothes weather because 78 in Portland, no humidity.
Yeah.
Maybe a tiny east wind breeze, maybe even some cloud cover. But in Missouri, it was like 80% humidity. Oh. Instantly drenched.
Hit you like a wall.
Like a wall, literally. Like a wall. And then I remember having that first huge thunderstorms, getting woken up in the middle of the night and just literally sounds like somebody trying to break into your dorm window. That's how loud the thunder was. And then just the type of football and just the intensity of a workout. Yeah. Where, like, when you're doing your running workouts, you're in a bowl stadium and it's about, you know, if it's 90 degrees outside, the stadium's going to be like 110 degrees. And you're forced, and just the way people push themselves to finish, an expectation. In JUCO, maybe there's 10 high-level guys who push themselves at every workout. If there's 120 kids on the field at Missouri, 90% of them are given 100% effort. Yeah. And just insanely talented. So you look around and you're like, man, like we're all the same speed. It's not like it's JUCO where it's one guy up here, one guy down here.
Like, you know, that guy in JUCO is going the next level.
Right.
At Mizzou, it sounds like everyone just can play.
Yeah, everyone can play, man.
How do you stand out in that environment where everyone's so good?
Ooh, what worked for me was consistency. What worked for me was consistency. I think I came late to one workout ever in 3 years. When I first got there, one of the weakest D linemen in the weight room by far. Yeah. By far. Like, I was always one of the faster and one of the quickers. By the time my senior year came around, one of the stronger guys, not the strongest, just not my body type. But by my senior year came around, for sure the fastest guy by far. But it was just consistency, man. Never failed a class. Maybe got one D ever. Like I said, came late to one workout.
They knew they could rely on you.
Exactly. And it's not always about talent. Obviously, it matters in the SEC. Yeah. But if a coach can't rely on you, he can't really work with you.
Well, that's an interesting thing. At defensive end, I think people think your job is just to be a battering ram all the time. There is scheme that goes on behind the scenes. What does that look like? What kind of scheme do you design or run into as a defensive end?
So it was interesting. We had a very kind of like exotic blitz package. My first year there was a sophomore season. And we were, I think, top 5 defense in the nation. So we did a ton of slanting, a ton of dropping back, a ton of one-on-one coverage with the running back, which we call peel plays.
So there will be a play where sometimes you'll guard a running back. Yep. Sometimes you'll blitz. Sometimes you got to worry about your gap, correct?
At times.
Yeah. You'll drop off in coverage. You'll cover the running back one-on-one. You have a lot of responsibility other than just going after the quarterback.
A ton of it.
How do you determine, like, did they signal in, you're this gap, you're that gap, this play? How do you follow that? Because you got to be locked into the defense all the time.
Right. So we had a wristband, and so the wristband my sophomore year was pretty loaded, and you just kind of in your brain you connect key terms to what you do. So like I said, peel or purple means you take the back. Slanting or long stick, which means you're slant to the B gap, or long stick may mean you're slant to the A gap. Now, sometimes those terms aren't in the blitz itself. The blitz might be called red to fire.
Sure.
So a fire may mean you got to get B gap. So in your brain, you have to conceptualize fire, B gap, fire, B gap. And the faster you can do that, the faster you're going to be able to play. But sometimes, man, you don't know what the heck is going on. You just sometimes
you go hit somebody.
You go hit somebody.
Yeah.
But there was times I remember, you know, Sony Michel from the Patriots. There was a peel play, and we're at Georgia, and it's like 3-6, and it's the play is peel. And so I peeled on Sony Michel. They never throw the ball to him. They threw the ball to him this time, and I had to get an open field tackle on a guy who ended up being, I think, a first or second round pick. But it's just on
first round pick. Yeah, it was the last pick of the first round.
First round pick, and the guy that's a team with Chubb, and your brain just has to fire and be ready. But that's the biggest thing is just playing fast, and the better you could memorize and conceptualize and use key terms for the schemes, the faster you can play.
So it was homecoming against Georgia. Was that by any chance a night game?
Yeah, every time we played Georgia was night games.
Dude, that's one of my, you may not know this, one of my dreams. I've gone to like Washington State football games, which there's like 35,000 people there.
Right.
I've worked at Eastern Washington games. I've never been to a true like SEC game. One of my dreams is to go to a night game at Georgia. What is that atmosphere like? There's a cool moment where they turn the lights off and the flashy's red everywhere. Describe that.
When I was there, they didn't do the red. That was new. They got the LED installed, I think, recently. But when I was there, they had the Georgia towels, kind of like the terrible towels from Pittsburgh. So they'd be waving them, but it's just weird sensation you get. When there's 80,000 people waving something, you almost get like seasick. And you get like a motion sickness and like you get like this buzz throughout your body.
Yeah.
Because it's 80,000 people basically yelling and screaming and stomping and waving a towel. So it's like sensory overload. So your body is like, the adrenaline gives you like this type of high and like motion sickness. And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's pretty insane.
You're at Death Valley. Can you hear anything?
You can hear a little bit.
I mean, you're on defense, so they're probably quiet for the offense.
Yeah. But it was like literally, it was buzzing. It was just, man, I think, so they had Leonard Fournette. He didn't play, so we got Darius Geis as a supplement.
I was going to be like, you got a break. And well, another NFL running back stepped up.
So we get Darius Geis in his Coach O's first game as the head coach.
At Orgeron.
Coach.
That's awesome.
So it was insane. It was homecoming, 102,000 night game, and you just get like this weird, like almost motion sick thing because the whole crowd looks like a continuous wave almost.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a single entity. It's just like a continuous like wave of emotion and just chaos.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where was I going? I had a question. You got your master's degree, which is a really, I think, rare thing to do for a lot of college football players. Get their degree, they go ball. You took academics really, really seriously, which is, I just first of all, I commend you for it. I look up to you a lot for that. Talk about that decision to go get your master's degree and why you took your education so seriously, because I just admire you for what you did.
Honestly, being in the SEC played a big part, because sometimes people are big fish in small ponds, and I kind of got to Mizzou, and I was like, oh. Like there's some talented kids in this region. And I had utmost faith in my talent. I was second team all SEC as a senior. I was top 10 in sacks my junior and senior year, and I led the league in TFLs. But when you're going against Dak Prescott's and Leonard Fournette's and Darius Geis's and guys who are first-round picks, you realize if you are blessed to make it to the NFL, you may not be in there longer than 12 months. The average career, I think, is 3 years, 36 months. So a lot of Mizzou was just amazing at really pushing a career plan outside of football. And I credit them with a lot of it because you're kind of brainwashed into taking academics extremely serious when you first get there. Like you're very much so, yes.
Wow.
You're very much so brainwashed. They give you a tutor, a mentor, psychologist, a big brother, like everything.
Is that because they need you to be eligible? Or do they care? I mean, that's an awful way to put that. But do you think it's?
It's so what they do with the newcomers, they kind of test you. They overload you with a lot of meetings, with a lot of tutoring. And so by the time your second year comes around, they know what type of guy you are.
Yeah.
Because if you have 4 meetings you got to go to every day outside of football, if you're skipping those, they're going to be like, okay, this is the guy we're working with. Yeah. Now, if you're hitting everything, knocking out the park, you might only have that schedule for 6 months. And for me, like, I had that schedule. And then the second semester I was there came around. I was like, dude, I got like almost all A's last semester. Why am I still meeting with a mentor?
Yeah.
Like, I came from JUCO. I'm like 21 years old. Like, I'm a grown man. But just they kind of brainwashed me into value in education. After I was brainwashed, I kind of was like, ooh, I can do something with this. Like, I can actually change the outcome of my life, not just go to the league and do the typical. Obviously, my goal is to get back to the league. Like, that's my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But I knew if you get a master's, like, your life just changes. The opportunities, there's not many doors that you can't open at that point. There's just not many.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest goal, was just having options by the time I hit my late 20s, early 30s.
That was cool. When we talked, right as you were leaving Mizzou, you were talking to me about how you wanted to use that opportunity to make your life better. Like, if I'm going to play football, I'm going to get everything out of this experience I possibly can. That sounds like that's your mindset, right?
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so savvy and smart. I think a lot of people go, I'm going to go to the league, and they get caught up and they don't realize at some point, no matter how successful you are in football, at some point your career ends. Whether you're Sony Michel, whether you're Tom Brady. Tom Brady's set for life. But a lot of guys have to find a way to make money or survive when their career is over.
Right.
You saw that.
Right.
And I love that about you, man. It speaks so much about you and your character. Can I ask you, I stumbled for a minute earlier. I was like, I had a question I wanted to talk about. I want to ask you about Drew Locke. You played with the Denver Broncos, second-round pick. He's a quarterback in Denver. He was your quarterback when you were at Mizzou. And you've spoken to me privately pretty highly about him. You liked him. Talk about him a little bit. What was it like to play with him?
Drew he had a unique experience coming in. He was kind of thrown to the fire. The quarterback before him had some major injuries, and Drew, basically, he got thrown to a Mississippi State defense, a Florida defense, a Georgia defense.
As a true freshman, right?
As a true freshman. We're talking about big 5-star NFL type of players. And it was kind of like baptism by fire. And he never folded. Honestly, nobody in that freshman class folded. They went through the craziest probably 4 to 5 year stretch out of any freshman class in that same 4 to 5 year stretch. And he never folded. He was always just a guy's guy. Always just a locker room dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of separate themselves in the locker room and they stick to a clique. I mean, there's 120 people.
Yeah.
You're not always cool with everybody.
Yeah.
But for Drew to be such a public figure and such a public face of the program, to still be cool with everybody in that locker room, I think it speaks volumes of who Drew is as a person, and his talent speaks for itself.
Yeah.
His arm strength, he has a prototypical body. All that stuff speaks for itself. Like, he holds the SEC record for, I think, yards and touchdowns.
Yeah.
So those type of things are great. But the off the field stuff, the guy that Drew is, it's awesome. I think that's going to get him far.
What's his work ethic like?
He's a hard worker. I mean, at that level, you don't have too many lazy people because they just don't make it.
Yeah.
At that level,
if you're going to be the starting quarterback of Mizzou, you're not lazy.
You're not lazy, man. And that's the thing. Like, nobody. The closest thing to lazy, I guess, would be us D linemen, and even the D linemen, we're working extra every day after practice. But, we like to go get our chicken wings and things like that. But we're the closest thing to quote unquote lazy, but we're still putting in 30 to 40 minutes extra every single day after a workout, and we're doing all our summer stuff. So those quarterbacks, man, they're on it. They like live at the building.
Yeah. Can I ask you, this is a personal question. You do not have to answer it, and please don't share too many specifics, but you're going to Seattle to play for the Dragons.
Right.
What's your living situation like? You're living in a dorm or living in an apartment with 3 other teammates? What does that look like?
I believe it's a hotel room downtown Seattle.
Wow, okay. Do they put you up and take care of you?
Yeah, so most of that stuff I won't have to worry about too much. I'll just worry about being in shape, obviously, and balling.
Yeah. That's the hard part. When you're, like, I just got my own place, and it's overwhelming to you've dealt with it. You're an adult, like worrying about all the other stuff when you just want to. I just want to make videos, right? I just want to do my show and my job, and then you're like, crap, I got to deal with this and that and landlord and garbage and all kinds of stuff. It sounds like you don't have to worry about that, which is huge. It makes your football career so much easier to focus on.
It's much easier.
You can just ball.
Right.
That's cool. It sounds like the XFL is setting you guys up to succeed. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they are. They're taking a lot of the business model of the CFL, I feel like, not extremely high wages, not super gaudy in the giving out gear and stuff like the NFL or college.
Yeah.
But they're paying wages that they're going to be able to pay out for at least 3 years.
They're making it sustainable.
Sustainable.
They're not overindulging.
No.
That's something that kills me is when you see companies or whatever, they're like struggling. They're with financially, and they're like giving away all this free stuff.
Right.
And they're spending a bunch of money on business trips. It's like,
No, you can't.
Sounds like the XFL is being smart with their money.
Very smart in their business model. I'm hoping it succeeds.
Yeah.
Obviously, I play for them. I'm an employee of them.
Yeah.
So I have faith that they are, and my agency has a lot of faith as well. So
What are the Dragons? I'm by the way, so stoked. You're going to be playing. I'm going to come watch you playing a game. Like, it would be hard for me if you were like in Alabama. I'm like,
right.
I can't go to St. Louis to watch you play.
No.
You're in Seattle, man. I get to come watch you.
Right.
I just, what are the people like that you've met from the Seattle Dragons?
They're awesome. The whole XFL organization has been awesome, and the way they did it, they had all these showcases. So the showcase I was at, I think we ended up with.
You flew down to Dallas, right?
Yeah, I went to Dallas.
Yep.
That was the initial one. So
great airport, by the way.
It was awesome. They have a couple of big airports, but yeah, it was awesome. The XFL just seems high class organization. I'm sure the AFF was too. They hired a lot of AFF people, and
yeah,
they employed a lot of AFF.
They took
players.
like the good parts of the AAF and then did it their own way, a more sustainable way.
Right. Kind of like the AFF, as far as American players, kind of almost with some of the CFL business model.
Okay. By the way, you're going to get crucified in the comments. It's the AAF. I know that you don't care. I don't care either. It doesn't matter. Right. I got a final question for you, and then we'll just open up if you have anything else to share. But you're from Southeast Portland. Mm-hmm. I'm from Southeast Portland. And you have one of the things I admire about you tremendously is you're responsible, you're great, but you also care so much about the community of Southeast Portland. Mm-hmm. And you've been coaching high school football. You've been working with these guys. First of all, just what does Southeast Portland mean to you?
Man, it's like it's home, and it's home for, you understand Southeast. You told me one time we were out at getting lunch, you were just like, Southeast is this place of highs and lows where you have the Harvard kids, you have the Cornell kids, you have Samson in the NFL, you have guys like you running your own talk show, you have OSA and OA, you have tremendous success stories, but you also have prison, you also have death, you also have drugs, you have very scary and very real things. And the neighborhood, I think, when you can make it out of the meat grinder of Southeast, and not inner Southeast, a lot of people think, oh, see, you live Cesar Chavez and Belmont and Hawthorne. No, dude.
More towards Gresham.
Yeah. We're like Gresham's backyard and forgotten Portland. So I think it's just a chip on your shoulder. And the way a lot of people end up in Southeast, people's parents is not the first. It's not usually the first place you look for a house. Like us, we were in Northeast. We were a lot of the people that got moved out from Northeast. I
chose to live in Vancouver. I mean, that's a great example. Like, as awful as that is, I gotta say, man, I grew up in Southeast Portland, and then my junior year moved to Vancouver. My family, I wanted to play quarterback somewhere. My coach didn't want me at my old school, so I had to move. And we lived in a mobile home in Vancouver. But the difference in community, going from inner city Portland, Southeast Portland, to a suburb Vancouver, there's less extremes in Vancouver.
Right.
Everyone's moderately successful from Vancouver.
Right.
From David Douglas from Southeast Portland, you have, again, guys in jail who are dead in gangs. And then you have people who succeeded far more than anybody I met in Vancouver. Stanford, Harvard, Yale, they're doing stuff for NASA. Like, it's wild, the variance in Southeast Portland. And I think what I love about Southeast Portland is it's kind of a breeding ground. It makes you tougher, really.
It does.
I would send my kids to David Douglas High School. I'd send my kids to that area because if you can get out of there, I think you can get out of anywhere.
Oh, no doubt.
It just forces you to make a decision. Do I want to succeed or not?
Right.
I love it, man. You've been coaching high school football. There's a story that I want to tell about you that is so cool. You raised money for your players to get them to a camp.
All right.
Can you tell me about that? Because I just saw that. I was on social media like, man, I already love Marcell and everything he's doing. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You're raising money to help these high school kids. Tell me about that.
Right. So we were going to a camp in summertime, and basically our demographics, it was a lot of whispers with the kids like, I need help with money.
Yeah.
And so I was just going to pay the way of a couple kids.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dude, I don't have $3,000 or $2,000. I can't just pay the way of a bunch of kids. So it just started off as somebody was like, make a Facebook post, make an Insta post, post it on Snap, post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I did that in like the funny thing is, most of the people who donated were from Southeast Portland.
The community came together.
And it was like $30 here, $80 here, $100 there. I think the biggest donation was only $150.
Yeah, and what's funny is like if you have a lot of people give a little, like I have a Patreon. That's how I survive and pay rent. If like 900 people give $1 a month, I survive.
Right.
And if enough people give a small amount, it doesn't take a lot. And the community came together for that.
They did.
I loved it, man.
And it was awesome. And the kids loved it. And they had a great time at the camp. And it was big for them. And they were like, wow, people care about us.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest thing.
And I'm sure to them, like when they look back on that moment, when they're 25 and they look back on that camp and getting to go, those are moments in my life where like I didn't appreciate them as much in the moment.
Right.
And I look back and go, man, I was so lucky to have my dad driving me around or this or that or a coach who believed in me. I just commend you for caring about your players. That's so cool. Can you talk to about? There's a couple guys specifically that you don't have to say their names, and please don't, because we'll get in trouble. But I've seen you develop these guys. Can you talk about just what that process looked like?
Man, it's just talented kids, and you notice how talented they are, and you're like, okay, they need a little bit of mentorship.
Yeah,
they need to know how to lift weights. They need to know how to get off the ball, but. Super talented kid, just like when we went there.
Yeah,
you had NFL players walking the
hallways.
Isn't
that wild?
Yeah,
like we played with Samson in the NFL. We played with Owa went there a couple years before us. He played for the Giants. Osaru is going to probably play in the NFL. You played in the NFL. It's wild how many, and we had I think more that could have.
More that could have.
I am so I think my dream coaching job is at David Douglas High School because I see the potential of that community. I would say, look, we're the beast from Southeast. Right. We have it harder than anybody. Yep. We're going to outwork you, and we are more physically talented than any other area in Southeast. And Portland, the area, there's so much talent there.
There is,
and I wish it could be utilized better. I don't want you to say more. I don't want to get you in trouble with David Douglas, but man, like I look at that program and go, there's so much potential there.
Yeah,
I would love to help with them. I just like, oh man, I just. Is there anything else you want to share? I just want to say thank you for coming over. I just love you as a human. Is there anything else you want to talk about or share?
Oh, I'm just excited about this XFL opportunity. I'm excited that you invited me over today. I'm excited for the kids at Douglas, man. Very talented kids. Keep your eyes on them in the coming years. In the Final Four, shout out to Barlow and Central Catholic. 2 teams from the Mount Hood Conference are in the Final Four of Oregon, and historically they're kind of frowned upon conference. But we got 50% of the Final Four this year. So
can I say before we go, I don't think people realize that Kendrick Bourne's from Portland, and Dominican Sue is from Grant High School in Portland. There's a lot of talent from Portland.
There's a ton of talent.
People have no idea. They're like, oh, that guy's from even people from Portland are not really into football, don't understand.
Right.
Oh, we have a lot of talent here in this city.
We do.
It's wild, man. Okay, thank you so much for coming over. I love you, man. I really am rooting for you. If you ever need anything, you can talk to me. And thank you so much for coming over.
Appreciate it, my brother.